Hello guys, in this video we're going to talk about suspensions and injuries. If you have played a couple of matches in the game already, you know players can get injured or suspended. In this video we will discuss the possibilities for these events to happen and the factors that make them worse or better. This player on the screen, for example, is not going to be available for the next 3 league matches because he is injured. The topics I'm going to discuss in this video will follow this sequence. First, I'm going to talk about how bans and injury decrease over the matches. Then, how many matches can a player be suspended for? What makes player get more or less cards? How often can a player get injured? And finally, how can you lighten injuries impacts? Bans and injuries decrease in different ways. When you talk about bans, they decrease after any match except for friendlies. So, for example, if you have a player who is sent off on a Friday during a league match, then he is going to be out for 3 matches. For example, you have a league match on Sunday, then a cup match on Monday, then other league match on Wednesday. For your next cup match on Thursday, or for your next league match on Friday, this player will be available. Understand? So, league matches and cup matches count to reduce the bans. Friendlies no. The friendlies don't interfere in anything. For injuries, it's different. Only league matches count. If the same player gets injured on Friday, for example, then he gets 3 matches out of the field. On Sunday, for a league match, one day will be reduced. Then on Monday, you have a cup match, for example, no days will be reduced. Cup matches don't count here. Then on Wednesday, you have another match reduced due to the league match play. Then on Friday, you have another reduction, the third one. Any cup match you play within this interval doesn't interfere in the injured length. Okay? Only league matches count. Regarding suspensions, the number of matches a player can be out of the field due to the number of cards he received follows a point system. Each yellow card gives a player 1 point. If a player gets 2 yellow cards in the same match, he will get 4 points. If he gets 1 red card, it can be 8 or 12, depending on how severe the fault was. It will depend on the referee's judgment. If a player receives a yellow card, then a red card, he will get 9 or 13 points. Based on the total amount of points the player has, he will get 1 match ban for each 4 points he collects. For example, if a player gets 13 points, a yellow card plus a red card, he will be suspended for 3 matches, and when this suspension is over, he will come back with a yellow card, which corresponds to 1 point. Okay? There are 2 factors that interfere in the number of cards a player receives to make it more or less frequent. One is the player's position. Players who play in more defensive positions tend to receive more cards. For example, defenders and center midfielders. And defensive center midfielders will receive more cards than offensive midfielders and forwards, for example. Forwards will rarely be out for suspensions. Other factor that interferes is a hidden skill called aggression. In order to find out what the aggression of a player is, there are 2 ways. One is paid and the other one is free. The paid one is by revealing the player's hidden skills, which are these 4 here. It costs Pro days. If you want to know more about each of these and everything on this page, there is a video I made a while ago, which you can access through the cards. Here we are interested in the aggression only, this one. In the case of this player, he is very aggressive. Other way to know about it is by using scouts. In this case, for this player, um, let me make sure about this scout. Here he has 20 in psychological skills, so he knows what he's talking about. This player is somewhat aggressive, according to this scout. See? This is a free way. I just send a scout. This one I have to pay. Okay, if you want to know more about scouts to understand how to use each of these skills and which scouts you can send according to what you need here, check this other video in the cards. In the case of the defender, besides being aggressive, he is a defender, which is more likely to receive yellow cards. That's why if you check his statistics, you see that he gets a lot of cards. See? Not good. For injuries, the aspect that makes the player to get injured less or more frequently is another hidden skill called injury proneness. There are other aspects, but these ones are external to the player. They are more related to the field, which is the next topic we're going to talk about. Just like in the previous case, for this hidden skill, you also have two options to find it out. You have the paid one, which is this, just revealing the hidden skills. In this case of this guy, is very good, 2 out of 20. He will very unlikely get injured. And the free one is not with the scout. The free one in this case is not so good because what you can do is to play the player in several matches, then you see how often he gets injured. Then you need an extensive amount of matches to find out because maybe some your player can get injured twice in a season, but it doesn't mean that he has injury proneness high. Maybe he was just unlucky. Understand? So you have to watch him over many seasons to have any conclusion. The scouts cannot tell you that. Now let's talk about the last topic of the video, which is how can you lighten injuries impact. This topic I divided in 3 points, things that you could do. The first of them is how can the number of injuries be reduced? This can be done through your pitch facilities. You can find these facilities by coming to your stadium page and checking at the bottom. These four here: the pitch cover, pitch draining, sprinklers, and heating. If you click, you can read more about each of them. And also, there is a video I made a while ago in which I talk about each of these structures, each of these facilities of the stadium. Check the video in the cards to understand more about each one. Then you have these four. They are supposed to increase the pitch quality, which will naturally reduce the number of injuries for both sides, not just for you and for your opponent. The next point, how can the length of injuries be reduced? You can do this using this facility here. You can also find it on the stadium page of your team, this facility here. I also talked about it in the video I put in the card before, so I will not give so much detail about it. Basically, it reduces the severity of the injuries. Let's say that your player was supposed to get injured for 5 matches. If you have this facility high, you have more chances of this injury be 4 matches, for example. And this facility, just like the other ones, apply for both sides, the home team and the away team. Finally, the third point is how can the recovery time of injuries be reduced? You can do this through the facility medical center. Once again, you can find it on the stadium page, this one. You see that I have only number 5 because this is a very expensive facility. This facility works like this. After your player is injured, it takes one league match to reduce the injury. After each league match, the injury is reduced in one unit. According to the level of your medical center, you have a specific percentage of chance of getting one extra unit reduction. Then, in a single league match, you may have 2 units reduced of the injury. Understand? If you have this facility in 100%, it is sure that you will always get 2 units reduced of the injury. If you have other levels, you have different percentages. If you want to see full details, check the video in the cards you saw before about facilities. These facilities are important for the success of your club, but you shouldn't invest in them at the beginning, in the first seasons of your team. In my extra team, for example, I didn't touch any of these facilities yet. They are all at level 0. If you are not following the series about my extra team yet, you should check it out. The playlist will be in the cards for you. I show the growth of the team from the first day to wherever we get in the future. Regarding the facilities, you should just consider increasing them after you have more valuable players, whose absence could be determinant for your team's performance. Don't invest on them too early on. That's all for this video, guys. If you have questions, write them down below. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. See you soon.